Welcome back, everybody. Part 2 of this week's show. It is August 24th on a beautiful sunny day here in New Brunswick. I'm wishing I was anywhere other than, well, not anywhere other than in this truck, but I definitely wish I was out on a boat getting some time in on the water instead of getting some windshield time in my truck. Before we go any further, as always, and you're probably getting sick of hearing me say this, but I'm going to keep saying it, thanks go out to Fish Bomb Outfitters, Carrot Sticks Rods, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, and most importantly, my wife and my son. To continue kind of where we left off after part 1 of the show, with the recovering from a bad outing. You know, I've talked about, you know, someone giving you a verbal kick in the butt, trying to get you out of that self-destructive mind space. And that's, you know, that's great. It doesn't always work. Everybody's different. Remind yourself of what you have done. Remind yourself, hey, I know I'm a good angler. It was just a bad day. I don't care if you have to go back through your phone, on Facebook, look at some pictures. Look at, you know, tournaments you've done well in and fish you've caught and say, hey, you know, no, it's one day. You know, it's one day or it's one event, whatever the case may be. Don't let it ruin you. A bad day can completely destroy someone's confidence if they let it. But only if they let it. A bad day is just a bad day. It has absolutely no bearing on your confidence if you don't let it. But if you let it, you're in for a long, hard road. And this applies to more than just fishing. This applies to virtually anything in life. Everybody has a bad day. You know, whether it be at work, you snap at a coworker that you normally get along with, you make a mistake with something you've done a million times. It happens. Don't look at fishing any different. The reason a lot of tournament anglers look at it differently is because there is money on the line. So they're worried. Oh no, I need that. I'm paying big money out here for entry fees and I'm not showing any return. Well, no, guess what? 90% of the field doesn't show any return. You're not the only guy or gal that had a bad day that day. No, that's just the way life goes. And when you're working as a team, occasionally one person makes a suggestion and the team reacts to that suggestion and it turns out to be wrong. Well, guess what? It's just as much one person's fault as it is the other. Because, yeah, okay, maybe I was the one that had the bad suggestion. But if my teammate doesn't turn around and say, hey, why don't we do this instead? Well, then that's part of life. So it's not fun. No, it never will be. Losing's never fun. You know, I know we live in a day and age of everybody wins and everybody gets a trophy and, you know, all that sort of stuff when it comes to kids. Well, we're the big boys and girls. We know that life actually isn't like that. There are winners, there are losers. You know, they're not going to pass me a check if I finish in 50th place and say, oh, thanks for coming out. It doesn't work that way. You know, God knows I wish it did, but it doesn't. So, keep it in perspective. And once again, it does go back to that it's just fishing. We're not fishing BASS Elite or FLW Walmart Series or anything like that. We're not making a living at this. Groceries on our family's tables do not rely on me cashing a check come Saturday. It's a good thing because we'd be awful hungry because it's been quite a while since I cashed a check. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't turn around and do it next time out, because I know I'm capable and I know my partner's capable. It's just a matter of us making the right decisions on the fly and rebounding from the bad outing that we just had. Are we going to rebound with a victory? I wish I could carve that in stone, but no. we might not. It's hard to say. It's anybody's game. It's competition. The only thing I know the next time out is at 7 o'clock in the morning, when those numbers start flying, I'm tied for the lead. Every boat on that water is tied for first place at that moment. It's up to you how you respond, what you do to see if you can be the guy that's there, the guy or the team or the gal that's standing at the front of the crowd at the end of the day. 7 a.m. blast off, everybody's equal. It doesn't matter if you're boat number 1 or boat number 55. Everybody's equal at that moment. So just keep that in mind. Don't beat yourself up. You're going to have bad days. And some years it's going to feel like you have more bad days than you do good days. That's just the cyclical nature of fishing too. You may have your quote-unquote honey holes that you catch fish out of. Well, guess what? I don't care how many years in a row you catch fish out of those spots. There will come a time where that spot for a period of time is going to stop producing or slow down. It's just, like I said, the cyclical nature of fishing. The fish migrate, they transition, the weather may be different this year over last year, and where the fish have been for 10 years straight, well, our summer's staying a little hotter a little later into the year. So, if you're used to fish being in that spot in September, and they're not September this year, but it's also 10 degrees warmer than it was September last year, there's a million different factors that can contribute to it. So sometimes your bad luck has nothing to do with luck. It just has to do with conditions. It has to do with the fact that things change. Maybe there was a major shift in the ice in the spring, in a shallow spot that changed the structure in that area, so it's not as attractive to the fish. It's not somewhere that they're going to hold in as often or as long or at all. There's all kinds of possibilities. So just remember, it's one day. It's one day, it's one event. It's not career-ending, it's not life-threatening. You're still going to go home and be with your family and the people you care about. And you're going to get up Monday morning and you're going to go to work. And that's just what it is. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but that is just what it is. So now I'm going to move on from that, just because I figure I've probably harped in your ear long enough that you kind of get my point, and hopefully somebody's listening that's had a bad day recently, and maybe one little phrase or one little segment of what I said is going to catch their ear, and it's going to help them. Because as I've said a few times, and I've said to a number of people outside of the broadcast, if I can help so much as one person, then to me what I've done with this show is successful. There's times I think I just help myself. It's therapeutic for me to talk about it. That's just part of who I am, as I vent. And now I have the opportunity to vent to all of you folks. And I appreciate that opportunity, anybody who listens. So, now, moving on. Season is winding down. As much as it pains me to say that, here in New Brunswick, the season is winding down. We're almost to the end of August. The kids are not so looking forward to going back to school, but they're facing the reality that a couple weeks' time they're back to school. Parents are looking at getting back to their routines. There's a lot going on. But what else are we gearing up for? It's Fall Brawl fishing time. Or will be very, very soon. The temperatures are going to start dropping. The fish are going to be putting those feed bags on. And it's going to be a great opportunity to get out and just have some fun. Tournament or no tournament, just get out and have some fun. If you have that friend who wants to go for, they've kind of been on the fence. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying it, but it's, I've never really done it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'd be any good at it. We are fast approaching on the perfect time of year to introduce somebody to bass fishing. Because those fish, like I said, they're strapping the feed bag on and they're fattening themselves up for winter. Because it's a long, cold winter underneath that ice, and they're not going to eat a whole lot, so they're going to stuff themselves silly here over the next little while. So if you've got that friend, I know in our area there's a few small club tournaments later into the fall as things progress. Great time. I plan, with any luck at all, I intend to take my son to one of them. It'll be his first tournament on the water with just him and me. It's a great opportunity to introduce somebody new to our sport, because virtually any day you're going to be able to get out and get a multitude of bites, some good quality bites, because it's heavy competition time for food. The big fish are going to be active, where normally it's, the small ones are real active and the big ones just kind of lay back and wait for their opportunity because they know they're the dominant ones. Even in the fall, the big girls turn it on. And they're going to be feeding up. So, find that friend or family member who's never had the opportunity. Get them out on the water with you. Even if it's just for a day. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a tournament. But there's no better time of year to introduce, and the leaves will start changing. Being on the water itself is just utterly beautiful. Even without fishing. I can't believe I just said on the water without fishing. That's not words that would normally come out of my mouth. But just to be on the water in the fall, like here in New Brunswick, and I know other areas too. I've traveled 38 states and 8 provinces over the last 15 to 16 years. So, I've been a lot of different places in the fall. So, but being on the water in the fall is just magnificent. Just get them out on the water, enjoy a beautiful day, pack a lunch, drop the boat in, and go. And 9 chances to 10, you may not have introduced someone to tournament angling, and it may not be something that their obsession, that their passion takes them that far. But if you take somebody who's never fished bass before and you introduce them to bass fishing in the fall, I'd almost guarantee that you will have a convert. You will have a new bass angler on your hands. Because if hooking on to, here in New Brunswick, a 3.5 pound smallmouth doesn't get your heart racing, you need to check your pulse. No, are they the 6-7 pound, Lake Erie monsters or like the Great Lake? No, they're not. But I've hooked 3 pound, 4 pound smallmouth. I've hooked 4 pound largemouth. That's my personal best on largemouth. Both of them fun, both of them fight. But man, I still love the fight of a smallmouth, and that will get a person addicted or hooked, pardon the pun, 9 times out of 10. So get ready for that, folks. Make some plans. Get ready to take somebody new fishing. Introduce them to our sport, and let's keep this thing growing. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining me. My name is Donald Patterson. This is NB Bassin', your weekly fishing podcast based out of here in New Brunswick. Thanks go out to Fish Bum Outfitters, Carrot Sticks Rods, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, my wife, my son, my tournament partner, and to all you folks that take the time to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, until next week, set those hooks, keep those lines tight.